There are two things I want to do before I take on the Guardians. The first one being repairing my armor and sword so I don't risk breaking them underwater. You see, my armor was important not just because the amount of protection it provided me or the amount of time I spent on it, but by the enchants I chose to get on it. I foresaw early on my need for water-based enchants, so when enchanting my armor, I made sure to get Respiration 3 on my helmet and Depth Strider 3 on my boots. Respiration 3 lets me stay underwater for a full minute without air, which really isn't that impressive considering all the things canonically you can do in Minecraft. Like, holding your breath a minute underwater isn't hard. I don't... What? Depth Strider 3 just lets you move so much faster in the water than without it. So to the Nether Fortress I went to repair my armor as much as I could from killing mainly skeletons and the occasional blaze. I also got an extra skull too, which is kinda cool, but after a while of killing, my armor and sword was more than repaired enough. So I headed back home and got started on the second thing, prepping for the temples. The only prep I want to do is just nice extra stuff like doors for air, since a minute isn't that long, depending on the context. Then also blocks to avoid getting hit by guardians, and milk for when I get mining fatigue from the other guardians. With the milk acquired, I was ready to clear out the 2 temples near my island. So I went back to the waters near my home and got started on the first temple, diving straight down to the top and facing my first Elder Guardian. Each temple had 3 Elder Guardians. And I wish I had more than that to say about these temples. I spent a bit of time prepping for these, but they were really easy. I mainly just free swam around looking for the other guardians, and using doors as both air and line of sight blockers, preventing me from dying. And each fish really is just a glorified punching bag, so these fights were also kinda boring, but once they were dead in both temples, I was able to get all the sponges and gold, which are pretty nice to have. After fully clearing those 2, I headed home, happily knowing my island was a tad bit safer. Then I realized there was another temple close by according to Chunk Base. So I headed there and did the same thing I did with the other 2, making our island's ocean Elder Guardian free.